This is Hellfire Ramparts as Mistweaver Monk. I'm not an expert at this game, this is not a dungeon guide, this represents my personal experience with a random dungeon group. I came into this dungeon drunk? Yeah, I'm seeing that screen effect. Okay, I was probably doing like Darkmoon Fair achievement stuff, because you gotta like drink one of every drink to get nothing. Anyway, Nightborn Mage, Orc Death Knight, right, so we're in Death Knight territory here. Shaman, and I see a Feral Druid. Okay. Right, so Hellfire Ramparts traditionally seems to be the first Burning Crusade dungeon, at least it used to be, that you'd normally do. A thing about this is, what I remember having seen way back in Wrath of the Lich King is you'd level to 58, queue up for a dungeon, get Hellfire Ramparts every time, and a whole lot of the time you'd end up with a fresh new Death Knight tank because they came out of their starting zone at level 58 typically, and could use the dungeon finder right then. What would happen a lot is you'd get a Death Knight who was a player who was playing the tank role for the very first time and just did not really know what they were doing or how to do it. So it's very fitting that I managed to get a Death Knight tank here for this. I feel like just like as a player base, people are kind of past that. I'm sure it still happens, but I don't imagine it's as much of a thing anymore. You know, people have been playing this game for longer. They know what they're doing better. But yeah, it was just like kind of a stereotypical thing. You'd come to Hellfire Ramparts, get a completely new Death Knight tank, they didn't know what to do. Or, you know, Death Knight damage dealers who also don't know how to play their class because they haven't been doing it for very long, and are doing their very first dungeon, figuring things out. It also used to be that, like, back in when Wrath of the Lich King was the current expansion, Death Knights had some problems as tank specialization. It was this weird hybrid thing where, like, each of the 3 specializations could opt into different talents to do tank or damage roles. So they weren't, like, very well specialized. It wasn't until Cataclysm that the Blood spec was made a dedicated tank, and Unholy and Frost were made into damage only. Whoa, that is some heavy damage. I kept her alive, but that was a lot of damage. Yeah, so I actually used to play a Frost Death Knight tank. That's now a damage only spec, and Blood is the only way to go if you wanna be the protector role. But yeah, I had to learn Blood from scratch when it's changed to the tank spec for Death Knight. I remember actually when I started playing that character, in a party or two, I'd actually get compliments because, like, whoa, a Death Knight tank who actually knows what they're doing. Because people just expected so much that every single one who came into these dungeons just did not know. Anyway, so that was cool. Right, so let's see. Hellfire Ramparts, pretty linear. There's like one fork in the road. Let's see. I have a memory of doing this dungeon when I didn't know what to do with dungeons as a different role. Like when I was first joined the guild that had gotten me back into the game the second time, right around Wrath of the Lich King. My Night Elf priest I used to play was at level 60, and I pulled him out, and let's see, he was a disciplined priest, so he was there as a healer. My sister was playing the tank. She had a paladin who she hadn't played a whole lot, and was bringing to the dungeon to figure that out. So both of us were kind of learning our roles then. And then her husband, my brother-in-law, was kind of coaching both of us through it. So that was my experience learning the ropes of the game. And there's a point in this dungeon where the road forks, and you fight a boss at a dead end. And I don't know, for some reason I was certain that that was the end of the dungeon. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, we're done with the dungeon. I'm going to teleport out now. And then the two of them who were watching what I was doing figured out what I had done. And they're like, no, there's still more to do. So I had to teleport back and run back to where they were. Had to hold up the group, which had 3 random damage dealers we didn't know in it. But we got it done. I learned, just teleport out when you get it to a dead end. Have to make sure you're actually at the end of the dungeon. Because back then it didn't make it as clear. Like, there's this big thing that comes up on screen now that tells you, hey, you completed the dungeon. Good for you. The UI didn't make it quite as obvious back then. But also, I mean, it's my fault. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm seeing glowing piles of boxes. I must have a quest to pick those up. Yeah, people are going for them. I don't know if I was paying attention to them at the time. Looks like they are not, they don't stay around when one party member takes them, so each person has to individually find their separate stacks of boxes. That changes from quest to quest. Sometimes when you have to interact with an object, oh yeah, I see all those glowies on my minimap. Lots of things to pick up. Sometimes when you're in a quest and multiple people are around interacting with quest objects, they stay around for everybody to be able to get them. Sometimes, you know, when one person gets it, it's just gone. Seems completely arbitrary whether it's one way or another for any given quest. I haven't found any pattern to it at all. So yeah, things hit a little bit hard in here, but other than that, there's nothing too scary going on. Pretty standard dungeon. Mostly linear gauntlets. This room coming up has some wandering packs of monsters you have to watch a little bit. So you know it's safest to just fight right here. Clear out the room slowly. And not accidentally get the whole thing at once. Yeah, you see those dogs walking around up there. They're probably going to get to us right around the time we're done with this group. Yep, perfect. Right, so you're seeing Death Grip there. I guess, let's see, I did one other dungeon with a Death Knight. I don't think they were the tank at that time. Right, Death Knight starts at level 55, at least in current version. So you won't see them in any lower level dungeon. I think that's changing in Shadowlands next expansion, where they'll start at level 1 along with everybody else. I think that's right. But yeah, Demon Hunter is the other one we won't see for a little while, because they start at level 98, is it? I always forget. Haven't created one yet. Managed to get away with a little bit of skinning. Yeah, so this place branches out both to the left and to the right. We go right first, fight one boss, then turn back and go left to fight the other one. So it was after this one that I teleported out when I was playing as the priest. Other than that, we got the dungeon done. It was fine. I learned some things about healing. Kept playing that character and got better at playing him. I still have him around, but haven't touched him for a while because he's not in the faction or server that I currently play. At some point I will want to level an Alliance character through the new stuff just to see the Alliance side of the story, because it's different. Not sure when that point will come yet. Man, bosses go down so quick. It just does not take much. Oh, that gives you the Hellfire Ramparts achievement. Oh, well that makes it extra confusing. So is that like officially the last boss and you're supposed to go left first? Or is this one like a bonus boss or something? Weird. Why does that one give the... Inspecting status effects. Huh. I wanted to see what she had on her. Okay, so maybe that was my source of confusion back then. That could have been it. So that thing on the ground is Death and Decay. It's kind of like a Paladin's Consecrate. You just put a ground effect and it deals damage and threat to stuff around. I always want to use that as a tank. It used to have this kind of loud but super cool sound effect that I liked a lot. I don't know if that's just gone or if I just don't hear it if I'm not the one who's playing the Death Knight. I'm pretty sure you could hear it before. I don't know. It was felt like a very iconic, memorable sound effect. So if it's gone, I'll be kind of sad. Just this big, loud whooshing thing that was, I don't know, it was neat. Not a whole lot going on as a healer here, other than just, like, you know, slightly heavy damage, you know, keep up. But basically all of it is just going on one person. Oh hey, Bloodlust. Yeah, we do have a shaman in the party. I see those totems. Why did I life cocoon myself? That probably wasn't on purpose. Oops. Yeah, I'm doing some fumbling. Yeah, okay, so the dungeon didn't complete until, like, yeah, that didn't count for dungeon completion until we killed this one. And, yeah, Vazradin the Herald. This is always the one people seem to kill last. So why does it give the achievement for the other thing? I don't know. Anyway, so quest turn-ins and stuff. 3 Hellfire supplies. Lots of boxes all over the place. I don't think it takes me too long to pick them up, and right, a new PvP talent is available. They they sure like to tell you that a lot. Speak. Not every level up, but most level ups get that. Okay, I'm here all on my own. Guess I'm gonna look for the boxes, because I didn't get them along the way. Fortunately, dungeon's clear, there's lots of boxes around. I don't know if they respawn or if just nobody happened to open these boxes. I have my cloak shown right now. Did I get an upgrade mid-dungeon? I wasn't paying attention. Alright, there's some supplies. Alright, there was a boss in this hallway that we fought that I barely even noticed. I was thinking about something else. So I think it's just the 3 bosses, the one who patrols this hallway, then the dude who gives you the achievement, then the one at the end who actually completes the thing. So, small little dungeon. It's a fun one though, I like this. Always enjoy playing Hellfire Ramparts. So, like, structurally in the world, the Blood Furnace is part of the same cluster of 3 dungeons with this and Shattered Halls that we'll get to later. So those are thematically similar, but just like different parts of the same Hellfire Citadel location. Anyway, that's Hellfire Ramparts. See you for the next one.